Good morning, I'm Ann Cutler and welcome to the 411. Earlier this week, parents of children from all over the U.S. with bubble boy disease rallied in downtown New Orleans to bring newborn screening for the disease back to Louisiana. Bubble boy disease, or SCID, which is severe combined immunodeficiency disease, can easily be detected with a single drop of blood. The test that costs less than $10. Babies born with SCID appear healthy at first but can quickly fall very seriously ill and die without treatment. Now, Louisiana used to screen for SCID but stopped in 2011. 29 of the 50 states in the U.S. currently offer this life-saving test for babies. So joining us this morning to talk all about this and share her personal story is the mother of David, who is known as the boy in the plastic bubble. This is Carol Ann Demaret. Good morning and thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you. Good morning to you.
It's nice to have you on. This is something that is rare. It's not something that we know a lot of people who have this condition in our lives, but something that has really impacted you personally. Why don't you share your story with us?
I was always told that it was a rare disease, but I came to believe that it wasn't so much rare as rarely discovered. My son David was born in 1971. We had lost a son the year before. Right before he passed away, it was determined that he had severe combined immunodeficiency disease, known by the fearsome acronym SCID. It's a genetic defect. We had counseling, and we were told that a son born would have a 50-50 chance of being afflicted, and a daughter a 1 in 4 chance of being a carrier. But we wanted children. And so when I became pregnant, we informed our immunologists, and preparation began for a germ-free delivery in the event that my son would have SCID. So preparation began, and David was placed. He was taken from me immediately at birth and placed into a bubble, or it was an isolator at the time. He was 2 weeks old before they could determine that he had SCID. At the time, the only treatment for a SCID baby was bone marrow transplant from a matched donor. We had a daughter. She was a perfect match for our son that had passed away, but not a match for David. So science had already committed to taking care of David, to protect him. But in the meantime, they knew if they could take care of David, protect David from viral and bacterial invasions, they could help all the thousands of other people who wander through this world, always ill from something. SCID is the worst you can have, but there are other sub-diseases that come under the umbrella of SCID, and those that live with chronic illness, those that live with infections, that won't go away. So we need to bring awareness to physicians to look to the disease itself. What SCID is, it's a complete absence of the immune system. David had, and children like David have no T cells, they have no B cells, they have no tonsils, I don't believe they have a thymus, and they have absolutely no protection against the germs and viruses.
Now, this is something you said, it was very interesting that it's not necessarily as rare of a disease as it is rarely discovered, but it is so easy to test for this. It's a simple drop of blood. Explain how that works.
We didn't have newborn screening, of course, when David was born. And now science can also determine SCID in utero. It's part of the core panel that each child that is born is tested with a heel stick. And that's what we are asking the state of Louisiana, who at one time, as you said, did screen for newborn. But I think it was through a grant, and when the grant ran out, the testing did. If a child is diagnosed early, within a month, and I think that's how long it takes for the results to come back, they can begin looking for a donor. The only known cure is a bone marrow transplant. There are various tendencies for SCID. I mean, it comes in many levels, and so if they can treat the children they can recover quickly, they can go home with stronger and healthier lives and never have to live in any kind of confinement. And also it alerts the health organizations and the physicians that, you know, there might be a T-cell function, but not so much a B-cell function, and that means there are other primary immune disorders that affect children and young adults and adults with a quality of life. So there are a lot of issues that can be of great help to the community if the children are diagnosed early. We have currently 31 states that are joining in on newborn screening, and perhaps another 5 by the end of the year. And at some point, I'm a member of the Immune Deficiency Foundation, and it's through their campaign that this has taken off.
And when you look at the cost, I mean, there is a cost for newborn screening, and that's something that could be passed along to the state, along to taxpayers. But when you look at the cost difference between treatment early on and treatment if it's caught so much later, it's astronomical. The numbers, if it's caught early, the cost can be $200,000 to $250,000 for treatment. If it's caught later on, it can be upwards of millions of dollars for treatment. So that could easily be made up with this early screening. Have you seen a lot of support here in Louisiana? A lot of families kind of backing you on this?
Well, we have a conference this week at the Immune Deficiency Foundation National Conference, and I will be in the company of many families like mine. There are a lot of SCID families that come together because of the internet. When David was alive, I didn't have anybody. There was absolutely no one whose son was living in a bubble, so we had to manage life on our own. But because of IDF, they bring families together, and they share stories, and they share hopes and fears, and so it is a great time for families to connect. Really, and awareness is what, it is a wonderful organization, and awareness is the key. With children, money is always a factor, no matter what. But for me, it's the survival rate of children. They have a 94% chance of living. My David didn't have that. There were many things that were not known at the time, but a lot of things are known now, and I think we owe it to them to give them a better chance at life.
Okay, unfortunately we're out of time. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
And coming on this morning. Good luck with your efforts. We sure appreciate you coming on. And for more information regarding SCID and the Immune Deficiency Foundation, you can log on to our website, WGNO.com.